Our purpose today was to kind of bring to you guys a new program that we have called WeightSmart on medical weight management. And we wanted to review a little bit of what it takes to manage your weight. And something that we wanted to be sure you know is that we could manage your weight. We don't believe necessarily on weight loss. We believe on weight management. So we want to be sure you guys understand that is actually the key of when you're dealing with your weight. Okay? All right. So kind of our objectives, or just kind of an overview, reviewing obesity as a chronic disease and what it takes for weight regulation, focusing on weight management as a goal, and then our key behaviors of weight loss success, which are the 4 pillars of weight management: metabolism, behavior, nutrition, and physical activity. And then we'll talk a little bit about our particular program, which is the WeightSmart Medical Weight Management Program here at Billings Clinic. All right. So just to start a little bit of definitions. It has taken us a long time for the American Medical Association to finally agree that obesity is a medical condition, just like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and it's not just a behavioral problem. So I wanted to be sure you guys know that the right definition of obesity is a chronic relapsing, multifactorial disease where you have mechanical issues and physiological issues. So this is not just a problem of eating less and exercising more. Okay? All right. So why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult to treat obesity? Well, this kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of how multifactorial obesity is. It has neurobehavioral, genetics. Some people will have predisposition even before they're born, depending on the mom's pregnancy. Environmental is a huge factor, and then immunological and endocrine. So it is very, very complex on how you treat obesity as a disease. So weight regulation. So the next slide, I warn you, is very busy. I'm going to try to go a little bit through it, but I thought it was important. I tried to explain it to my patients, why it is so difficult to lose weight. I have tons of patients who do everything they need to do. They follow their diet, they are exercising, but they see that they don't lose any weight. So that's when I try to explain to them the basis of weight regulation. Why is it so difficult? So bear with me. So when I try to kind of explain this, I tell the patients, all right, it all starts right here at the brain, okay? So the brain is what controls our regulation, most of it, okay? All right, so I put the mouth here because, yeah, that's where it all starts, okay? That's where it comes in. So here's your food, all right? So food goes in, and then it goes to the stomach. Well, the stomach has a very particular hormone called ghrelin, this guy right there. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone, okay? So whenever you get that feeling in your stomach that you're like, oh my God, I gotta go eat something, that is ghrelin. That's the one that's talking, okay? All right. So, and this is what we call the on pathway. So that means that is all the time on, okay? You're always hungry, all right? Okay, so when you eat, it goes to the stomach, ghrelin is up, saying, I need food, I need food. When finally you eat, then the small intestine has another hormone called GLP-1. So this guy is supposed to go and block this ghrelin and quiet it down so that you're not so hungry, okay? So that's supposed to happen when you eat, all right? So then you have here in the pancreas, you have all this insulin. The insulin is supposed to go when you eat and you have those high blood sugars, which are normal. Then you have to have this insulin, which is a carrier, comes and gets together with the sugar, with the glucose, and that takes it into the cells. But what happens? Well, the number one reason for obesity is insulin resistance. That means that we have a lot of insulin in our body, regardless of food. So because of that, then it's like our body's always thinking, oh, if I have a high insulin, that means I have no food. Even if you're eating, your body thinks you're not, okay? So what's that happening when you have a lot of insulin? Well, ghrelin is screaming bloody murder all the time, okay? So this pathway is always on, so the body constantly is thinking, ooh, I'm in starvation, I need to eat, okay? So because of that, this pathway, which is the one that makes us lose weight, is always off. And the body's saying, oh, so by default, I need to eat, okay? So because you need to eat, the body says, well, do not waste anything. Do not burn any calories because we are not eating, okay? It doesn't matter if you are 500 pounds or if you're 100 pounds. The body still thinks you're in starvation mode, okay? So our therapies have to be around here. So we work on the brain side, we work on the pancreas, and we work on the small intestine, trying to get this pathway to get better. If we can get this pathway off, then we can get the satiety pathway on. So finally, when you eat, you feel full, okay? But most of us do not get that sensation of fullness, okay? And our fat cells have this wonderful enzyme or hormone called leptin. That's the one that makes us feel full. Well, that one doesn't really get to play. So always stay at home. The one that plays all the time is ghrelin, okay? So if we could find a way to increase our leptin, that would be fabulous. But that doesn't work that way. We've tried, it doesn't work. So we're still working on this side. So as you see, our default is to gain weight, not to lose it, all right? So that's why it's so difficult, because this is what we're doing all of the time, okay? All right, so then we have another little thing that's called biological adaptation. So what that means that when you finally, get your act together, you're really eating good, you're not even paying attention if you're hungry or not, you're just following a good regimen, you're exercising, trying to get your body to lose the weight. Well, because our body weight is under biological control, that means that the more energy you spend, the higher your hunger. Because then ghrelin says, oh, we're wasting a lot. I got to be hungry. So then you feel hungry, all right? So the more hungry, the more exercise you do, okay? So what does the body do? It says, okay, well, if she's exercising too much, I'm going to burn less, okay? So because it's burning less, your weight stays right there. Because that's what the body wants. It wants to keep you in balance. But it doesn't get it that you are not in balance at 300 pounds. You need to be in balance at 160 maybe, okay? So to move it sideways is very hard, and that's exactly what happens, okay? All right, so this one I like because it shows you up here, this is what we need to do in order to get you to lose weight. We need to kind of tilt your balance a little bit by trying to get you to lose weight. But what happens? Remember, the body likes balance. So in order to get that balance, it's going to make you regain your weight. So if you lose a lot of weight with programs like Ideal Protein or with Medifast or any of those that will make, or God forbid, ACG diet or any of those other things, what happens is you lose very dramatic weight loss, and your body's going to say, ooh, hello, no, this is wrong. So it's going to balance you out by making you regain weight, okay? That is what happens. So sure, you see the little guy's a little fatter here, but it's in balance. That's what the body likes. Body likes it in balance, okay? So this is what we fight. How we balance out the energy that comes in from food and then energy that goes out from exercise, okay? All right. So another good friend, set points and plateaus. All right. So I try to explain to patients that this is the key for weight maintenance or successful long-term weight loss, okay? Nobody likes to hear this because we all want to lose 50 pounds in 2 months, okay? But that is not the way to go. Why not? All right. Let's say this is your starting point. Let's say you're at 250, okay? So you do your strategies. You're working with Christina. You're learning to eat well. You're exercising. You're resting. You're working on your stress. You're doing everything right. Okay. So we want you to at least go 10 to 20 pounds, so 5 to 10% of your body weight, okay? And then we want you to stay there for a little bit. Why? Because your body was used to being at 250. Once you lose this pounds, we need to get it readjusted. Remember, biological adaptation. So you kind of tip it, lose a little weight, balance. And you got to stay there for a little bit. And then you tip it, and then you balance. If you tip it and you keep going way too fast, this is what happens. Let's say you went from 250 to 190. The only exception to this is metabolic surgery. That's a different thing, okay? But for normal weight loss, medical weight loss. If you go all the way down here, and then you go, whoop, it's going to take you all the way up, okay? You tip that balance way too fast, way too much, and your body is going to get adapted. It's going to want to balance up. It's going to take you back up, okay? If you want to do this the way that it will work for long term, it's got to be like 10 to 20 pounds at a time. And then you need those plateaus, okay? Then the patients tell me, well, how long should the plateau be? Well, that depends on the individual, okay? So it's not a matter of, oh, you can be there like for 2 months and then you're done. Then you got to go down. It depends. We don't know. Depends on your medical conditions and a lot of other reasons, okay? All right, so that is kind of the key. Then ideally, you would eventually get all the way down here, and that's your goal weight. Well, the body then is not going to complain so much. Let's say that you get sick, or you go through holidays, or something happened, and you went out of the, out of the reservation. So then the worst is going to happen is you're going to go up maybe 20 pounds, okay? So then that's okay. All you go is go one step up, all right? Then you will get your act together again, and then you go down again, okay? That's why this step ladder approach is much better for weight management, okay? All right, so then we're going to go through the 4 pillars, and I'm going to talk about the first 2, and then Christina, we're going to take about the other 2, all right? So this little house here, this is what I call the foundation of weight management, okay? So metabolism, nutrition, physical activity, and behavior, okay? These 2 guys here on the top are important, but they're the roof of your house, not your foundation, okay? So we do use bariatric surgery or metabolic surgery. That's, as I say, a different topic. And I do use medications at times. But I always tell the patients, do not come to our program thinking that we're going to put you on medication. That depends on the individual, depends on that big pathway that I show you guys, depends where your problem is at. Then we use specific individualized therapies. We are not a one-size-fits-all. You're not going to come to our clinic to get phentermine or to get pen weight, or that's not our program. That's not how we work. All right, so we're going to make you learn the 4 pillars forever and ever, because that is the key, okay? All right, so metabolism. So contributing factors for obesity, all right? Medications. Sometimes, the medications that you're given can actually make you gain weight. That is possible. So that's part of what we try to do. We try to review them, then talk to your primary care and see what we can do to adjust them. Sleep is a huge area. There's an association between sleep apnea and obesity, so we definitely try to work with that. Stress is huge. There are many studies on the stress cycle and the elevation of cortisol and how that induces weight gaining or the inability to lose weight. Okay, so we try to work with that. Genetics and epigenetics, that means that sometimes that is the genes we've got. Okay, and when that happens, we try to adapt it as much, but I tell some patients, look, sometimes your body will not allow you to go to that goal weight that you want of 140 pounds. That's never going to be you. Okay, so the standard we follow is 5 to 10% body weight loss is already beneficial. Anything else we can get from there, it's even better, okay? But you cannot go say, well, I'm 350 and my goal weight is going to be 150. Well, to lose 200 pounds is huge, okay? So can that happen? Sure, it can. But will it happen to you? Not necessarily, okay? That does not mean you're not going to be healthier by losing weight. Yes, you will, okay? So the goals are very, very individualized, all right? Okay. So in metabolism, this is the key areas that I will check. So when you come to our clinic, we'll do an evaluation, either myself or Dane Scott, which is the nurse practitioner that works with me. We will do an evaluation on your medical history, and we will do blood work. And these are the main areas we're going to check. We're going to check on your thyroid, insulin resistance diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, elevated liver enzymes, or anything that has to do with accumulation of fat around your liver, and sleeping issues, okay? So that is kind of our main area. Insulin resistance is at the bottom of everything, okay? And I like this slide because it's kind of, if you guys can read a little bit through it, you're going to say, oh, that's me, that's me, that's me, that's me. Craving for sugar, fatigue after meals, having aches and pain, having high cholesterol, low thyroid, hormones out of whack, having problems with polycystic ovarian syndrome, infertility, inability to lose weight, constant hunger. All these things are associated with insulin resistance, which is the base of weight gain, okay? So then you'll see that when you have insulin resistance, then this is what happens. Then you have higher risk of heart disease, sleep apnea. You have increased risk for having blood clots or strokes. enlargement of the heart, urinary frequency, lightheadedness, all this reflux, all these problems that people tend to have, they're the consequence of insulin resistance. And insulin resistance towards diabetes is one long line. So I always say it's the same pathway. What varies is how bad is it getting, okay? So, but when you're walking towards diabetes, we can always take you back and revert it and help you go to health, okay? And that is not necessarily related to losing 50 pounds, okay? All right, so behavior. Behavior is very important. Behavior is what boycotts every effort, okay? Have you ever, started a plan and you're very gung-ho, you do great for the first 2 months, and then after that, then you stop doing it, okay? That is behavior, okay? So in our program, we focus very much on behavior, teaching you what are the little things you gotta adapt in your behavior to make it better, okay? All right, so here, I'll review a little bit on why we eat, because this is what makes a difference on can we stick with the program or not, okay? And why we regain weight, and also why is it so difficult to stick with the plan, okay? All right, so why do people eat? Well, we eat because it's time to eat. We eat because there's special occasions, the holidays are coming up, Emotions, that is the number one reason we eat, okay? Because we're happy, because we're sad, because we're thrilled, because we're bored, because we are angry, you name it, we eat. And hey, I'm Latin. We eat for everything. So, to celebrate, to soothe, to, whatever. We eat. So if it's part of your culture, well, that doesn't mean you won't participate. You just have to be proactive. You have to have plans. You have to say, okay, well, if I'm going to go to my, big family reunion, and I'm Latin, I know what's going to be there. All right, well, how much of that I'm going to eat? Am I going to eat before? You have to be proactive. But still participate, because you got a life is for living, All right. There are other reasons, physiologic. All right. Sure, hunger, because that grilling is telling you go eat. Lack of satiety after meals, because that leptin is really not working. Okay. Because of the, we are in this, everything looks so good and smells so good and it tastes so good, all the senses. Okay. All right. Also our environment. Okay. Well, why will you eat those cookies in the, at the office? Well, because somebody brought treats this morning, and they're there, Doesn't matter if you're full or not, or you don't really like that type of cake, but it's there. Or you're at a buffet, and it's free, or it's available, or, So you're like, sure, why not, okay? So, free food, they've done studies on particularly on free food. And when there's free food, people eat like 2-3 times what they normally will eat just because it's free. I'm like, yeah, but the calories that you're getting, that's not free. But, Another big thing that I found, us, I'm certainly not a baby boomer, thank you. But I am the next generation of the boomers. So what happens? This is what they taught us. Hey, you have to have a clean plate syndrome. Because the poor little kids in China or whatever, in Africa, or don't have food or whatnot. Not that my food is feeding them, but that's what they taught us, okay? So I have tons of my patients who say, I cannot leave food in my plate. And I tell them, but it doesn't occur to you to put less in your plate so you can eat it all? But no, we don't do that either. We just stack it up, and then you have to finish it up, okay? All right. The other important thing is rewards, and that's something that I pay a lot of attention with my kids. What do we always do? Oh, it's okay, honey, don't feel bad if they had a bad day. Let's go eat ice cream. Or here's a cupcake. Or here's a, we always reward with food. And we have to change that. We have to change the reward to something else that it is non-food related, okay? So, say eating as compensation, eating for pleasure. We do know that there's nothing better than a night when there's cold and eating some ice cream by the TV and a glass of wine. But you have to kind of figure out how to adapt that, okay? All right. So a little bit of review on adaptation and regain. Remember, the body wants steady state. Keep you right there. But this is what caused the problems: behavior, environment, okay? So those are the big things that you have to control: behavior and environment. All right? Okay, so why do we regain it? Remember, the biological adaptation. So when you lose weight, so right now you're sitting down and your body is spending a lot of energy, okay? So when you start losing weight, then your body uses less energy to maintain you. That is how you adapt, okay? So the more you lose, the less you burn, okay? That's what happened with the Biggest Loser new studies that they've shown, that those people, they lost so much weight because they were exercising so much. Well, in order to maintain their weight loss, they could hardly eat less than 500 calories, which is not going to happen. So therefore, they could not maintain their weight, okay? So that's why it's so important to do this slow so the body can adapt and adjust, adapt. Then you can maintain a better expenditure, okay? All right. And then the behavior, remember, that's the boy putter. Failure to maintain accountability logs. At the beginning, you were doing great, and then you're like, I'm not going to check it. That looks good enough, okay? Or having too much stress, changing life circumstances. I tell people life is going to happen, so you have to proactively prepare, okay? All right. And then living in environmental and cultural effects. I mean, we live in an obesity-inducing environment, okay? There's no doubt about that. Between, the lack of offering of being outside and being active. Granted, Montana is one of the healthiest states with regards to obesity, but sadly, we're starting to get higher and higher. The healthiest state of the whole United States regarding obesity is Colorado. So, yeah. And I believe Louisiana is the worst. Or Mississippi. Anyway, genetic predispositions, lack of learning about nutrition, and high energy food promotion, okay? It's huge. So that is our obesogenic environment, okay? All right, so now I'm going to pass the baton here to Christina, and she's going to talk about the other two pillars, nutrition and physical activity. And then after that, we'll wrap it up with our program, okay? All right.
Okay, so we're going to talk about nutrition first. So successful weight management needs to be done in a way that is also healthy for you. So one of the main things I wanted to touch on first was fad diets. I feel like as a dietitian, my main job is to fight off all of the information that you might get on Google or on commercials or anywhere else, because fad diets give you so much misinformation. So first off, how to spot a fad diet. A fad diet is some sort of weight loss regimen that promises some pretty big changes without a lot of effort on your part. Anything that sounds too good to be true probably is. So promises drastic weight loss results. Anything more than about 2 pounds per week throws you into that cycle that Dr. Ortiz was talking about, where you don't hit your new set point and then you can regain very easily. Sometimes I feel like I lose my audience when I pitch that 2 pounds a week would be great. Kind of look at me like I have to work hard and I only get to lose 2 pounds per week. But we do know that long term that ends up to be more sustainable. Very restrictive. Any type of food plan that eliminates whole food groups or is very lopsided, high protein, only carbohydrates, you have to eat a lot of fats, those type of diets also would fall into that fad diet category. Lacking physical activity, we definitely need to work to be able to maintain a healthy body weight. And then promoting supplements, diet pills, programs. If you have to give them a lot of money, then more than likely it's going to be something that isn't going to have the return that you're expecting. And then does not promote lifestyle changes. Any changes that we're going to make to lose weight or maintain a healthy weight need to be something that you can maintain long term. So even with my patients, if we sit down and we're setting goals for the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I want to make sure that it's a goal they see themselves doing long term. If you hate running and you decided you're going to lose weight by signing up for a marathon, that's not going to be a long-term commitment from you. So what happens with fad diets or yo-yo diets is kind of that weight loss and regain cycle that Dr. Ortiz was talking about. You're going to initially lose some weight. You eliminate all your grains, or you start eating their magic pill or drinking their magic shakes. You'll initially lose weight, and then when you fail to maintain that, because let's be honest, carbs taste pretty good sometimes, you start to creep back up, and then you even can go above where you started. And then you'll get on a new plan, you'll drop some more weight, and then we'll creep right back up, and you kind of will lead higher and higher over time. So if you look here, our first weight loss attempt is way down here, and even though we're going up and down and up and down, over time, we end up much higher. I have so many patients tell me, I would love to get back to the weight I was at when I started my very first diet, because I didn't realize where I was going to end up was so much higher. So why fad diets do not work? Weight management is a lifelong process. So most of the requirements of these type of diets are not things that you could maintain long term. Outcomes only last as long as the effort does. So a 2-week cleanse of all these different protein powders and drinks and stuff, unless you want to drink those for the rest of your life, you're only going to see that weight loss during the time that you're sticking with it. So when setting your goals, be sure to ask yourself, what's the long term here? Can I see myself during this long term? There's never like a no cake diet in our book because everybody has a birthday, right? You have to be able to fit in what you like and what you enjoy into what we're going to do. We just need to fit it in moderation. So with the fad diets and all the nutrition trends out there, sometimes it's hard to separate the misinformation from the information. So we're going to go over a couple of the myths and facts. Myth number 1, eating fat will cause you to gain weight. This is not true unless you eat too much fat. Fat is an essential macronutrient. You do need fat. There's vitamins in there that you need, and it also helps you feel full. So very, very low fat diets tend to cause a lot of cravings and overeating in other areas. So we do want to have fats. We just want to choose the right fats. Things like olive oil, canola oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds. You want to choose healthy fats and make them a small part of your diet. The second myth, carbohydrates have gotten a very bad rap in the last couple years. Everyone's on no carb, low carb, avoid the carbs, but we actually need carbohydrates for energy. The trick is the amount of carbohydrates we tend to eat is what would make us gain weight, because it's easy to overeat in that area because it tastes good. That's the bread basket at dinner, that's the donut at the grocery store. Those types of foods do add up very quickly. So we need to choose the complex carbohydrates, the ones that are high in fiber, whole wheat breads, whole wheat pastas, whole grain rice, or brown rice. And then you can eat, the next myth is you can eat as much protein as you want and not gain weight. This one is the most popular one right now. People say, I only ate protein for lunch. I didn't have anything else. Or I only ate protein for dinner. But protein still has energy in it. Protein has a very important role in weight management, and we'll get to that of where we need to have protein. But you can still gain weight if you eat too much protein. And a lot of foods that have a lot of protein also have a lot of fat in them. So those go hand in hand. So overeating in that area, it's not a free food like we all think it is. The last myth, protein builds muscle. Protein does not build muscle. If you sit on the couch and you drink your protein shakes, you're not going to get ripped. What we want you to do is get enough protein so that you have enough protein to go to the gym or go home and lift weights, but we need to do that resistance exercise to actually build the muscle. Okay, so another tip in medical weight management, we look at sugar. Added sugar has been more linked to the obesity, heart disease, than the fat. So added sugar is going to contribute a lot of extra calories without adding any extra nutrient value. They're considered empty calories in our book. There are some sugars that are naturally occurring in like fruit and milk, so those are still a necessary part of the diet. But the current recommendation is to limit added sugars to just 9 teaspoons for men, which is 36 grams, and for women, 6 teaspoons, which is 24 grams. So to put that in perspective, most specialty coffee drinks have more than your daily allowed amount of added sugar in them. Small granola bars would take up about half of the woman's daily allotted. A little container of ice cream would take up about half. So it's really easy to catch up to that amount that is allowed in the diet. Foods that have a lot of added sugars would be like soft drinks. We all pretty much expect that one, cakes, cookies, donuts, but they can also be hidden. It can be hidden in things like smoothies. We think we're doing a good job. We're getting a smoothie at Jamba Juice instead of getting something else. Sometimes those have double or triple the amount of sugar in them that you can have in a day. Salad dressings, as they go low fat, they go higher sugar, so watch out for those. barbecue sauces, marinara sauces, a lot of the extra sauces that we add to stuff have sugar too. So with all the additives to our food that contain sugar, we don't have a lot of margin to actually add things like cookies and cakes and those types of things. So really be an investigator with your labels. Look on them, see, this is tomato sauce. It doesn't seem like it should contain a lot of sugar. Some of the spaghetti sauces will. So really take a look and know in your whole day, if for women you're only needing about 24 grams, you'll probably find you've met that by about lunch if you really start to look at it. They're also hidden on the label by using words instead of sugar. They'll say corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, sucrose, or they'll trick you and they'll say it's made with raw sugar or honey or maple syrup, all still sugar. There's no easy way around it, it's still sugar. Fiber is also very important in weight management, and this is where the myth of we don't need any carbohydrates kind of comes into play. We do want to have carbohydrates, we just want to make sure that they're complex carbohydrates. So picking whole grain breads, pastas, and cereals, grains, quinoa, brown rice, and when you pick something, be sure to read the label, make sure on your bread that first word is whole wheat flour or it's whole wheat pasta, and then it needs to have at least 3 to 5 grams of fiber in it as well. That fiber is going to help you stay full longer, kind of keep your blood sugars a little bit more regular throughout the day. So what does work? I've kind of highlighted what's not working for us, but what does work for medical weight management? First off, the hardest part, lifestyle changes. I wish I could take that part away and make it seem like I can fix you with a little wave of my magic wand, but unfortunately it's putting in the effort. It's learning the lifestyle changes and picking things you can see yourself doing long term. Having protein at breakfast, latest research shows that people that have a pretty high load of protein at breakfast do end up having better weight management and eating less throughout the day. So making sure you start your day with some sort of protein, and I would have you pair that with a carbohydrate, a whole grain, if you will, to make sure you get enough fiber. Not skipping meals. This is a big one. We think we're doing ourselves so much good by eating less calories in the morning or saving up for that big dinner at night, but then we just tend to overeat later on. So eating your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner, and spanning that with a couple snacks of fruit, maybe a little fruit and protein, is really what works to maintain your hunger level in a way that it's 4 p.m., you're not opening the cabinet starving, wondering what you should eat. 64 ounces of water per day is what we recommend. That's a hard one. Sometimes it's hard to know how much water you get in a day. So I always say get a water bottle that you're going to use pretty frequently. Mine, for example, is 20 ounces, so I know I have to get at least 3 of those in my day. Then I have a couple, cups of water with my meals as well. So figure out what 64 ounces looks like in your cup or your water bottle. Have balanced meals. If you look on your handouts, there's a picture of a plate on there. The importance of having balanced meals comes from getting energy from your carbohydrates, getting protein that'll make you feel full longer, and of course build that muscle, but only if you go to the gym, right? And then a lot of vegetables as well. We want to have that plate full. Mind you, that little corner with the carbohydrate, I prefer you pick a whole grain, not a potato, with butter on it on that one. But make sure you get 1 serving of protein, 1 serving of whole grain, and then lots of fruits and vegetables with your meals. Additionally, a multidisciplinary approach, which is what we do with WeightSmart, involving physician, dietitian, we have a social worker that works with us as well, and really addressing all 4 pillars of the weight management. And last, we need to make sure we get in there adequate physical activity. So physical activity, as Dr. Ortiz said, is one of the pillars of weight management. It's an essential part. It's not only hard to lose weight without physical activity, it's also hard to keep the weight off without physical activity. So the recommendation is 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity aerobic activity. What that means is that if you are walking with your friend and you could talk, and if you really wanted to, you could turn it up and sing a little bit, you're not working hard enough. We want you to be able to have a conversation, not be able to sing, be getting a little sweaty, and feel like your heart is beating pretty hard. If you are more into vigorous intensity activity, it's 75 minutes per week. We want at least twice a week of resistance exercises that strengthen the muscles, and then avoiding daily inactivity. So one of the hardest things is to not only understand that physical activity is really important for weight management, but then also making sure that we get plenty of daily activity as well. Physical activity builds muscles, can improve your metabolism, help get you through some of those weight loss plateaus that Dr. Ortiz was talking about, but not too fast, right? Reduces your stress, can improve heart health, reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes, muscle strength, endurance, and then as we get older, can help with independence and doing the activities of daily living. To be effective with physical activity, we have to see where we're at right now and then figure out how we can step it up. If you're just starting a weight loss journey, if you're already doing something, we need to go figure out how to go above and beyond what you're already doing. You also want to mix it up. If we do the same activity every day, our body gets very efficient at that activity. And efficiency is really good in most areas of our life, but in exercise, you don't want your body to get efficient. You burn less calories, you build less muscle because your body's used to it. You're not challenging it anymore. That can be as simple as if you do a walk around your neighborhood with a friend a couple times a week, picking a neighborhood that has a bunch of hills and go up and down the hills just to increase that intensity. If you're doing aerobics class at the Y 2 days a week, adding one more day. You can work on increasing it either in frequency, intensity, duration. Maybe you do 2 loops on your walk instead of 1. But continuously mixing it up is what helps your body be challenged in a different way and hopefully continue to stimulate that muscle growth, and weight loss. Choose an activity you enjoy. This falls into those lifestyle changes. If you don't enjoy something and you come and you meet with me and we make a plan and I pick something for you to do and you walk out the door, you're not going to do it if you don't enjoy it. So try and find something you enjoy, and better yet, find someone to do it with as well. Having an accountability partner increases our odds of sticking with it quite a bit. Make time for exercise. Putting it on your calendar, making a to-do list. If you're a to-do list person, that you write your to-do list. I'm a to-do list person so much that if I do something that's not on my list, I add it just so I can cross it off. So if you're one of those people, make it on your to-do list just to make sure you get to cross that off. Or write them on the calendar and then cross them off as you get through them. Another trick with that is doing it the same time every day. If your 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is always your exercise time, it's much easier for you to always plan around that. But making it a priority however fits best for you. Break it up. If 30 minutes per day is too much to start off, you can do 3 10-minute bouts throughout the day. You could do a 20-minute bout in the morning and a 10-minute in the afternoon. But be sure to break it up in a way that you're still getting at least 10 minutes, because that's where we start to see more of a calorie burn and those cardiovascular benefits. Set realistic goals. Nobody likes to feel like a failure. So if we're not exercising and we decide that tomorrow we're going to go out to a fitness center and we're going to go 5 days a week and all these different classes, our odds of maintaining that is pretty low. I like to have people look at it 1 week at a time. What are you doing this week? And how could we make that a little harder next week? And then take the next week as it comes, with in mind that you're going to continuously be increasing as you can. And then decrease your sit time as much as possible. Some of the latest research coming out about daily activity versus physical activity shows that even if you sign up for some really hard class at your gym and do it for 30 minutes, and then you sit on the couch for the rest of the day, or you're stuck at your office at your desk, you do not get the benefits of someone who is active more throughout the day. So the way I look at it is 2 buckets. We have our physical activity bucket and we have our daily activity bucket. Physical activity is where all of your exercise goes. You're walking with your friend, anything that's that 30 minutes or 10-minute bouts to get you your workout or your exercise. The other bucket is our daily activity. This is where you park at the back of the parking lot, you do a lap around the grocery store before you shop, you take the stairs instead of the elevator. That fits into this bucket of daily activity. We also call it NEAT, which is non-exercise activity of thermogenesis, which is just fancy words for calorie burn because you're moving. So we want you to work on filling both buckets because the NEAT, you spend so much more time in that NEAT area that you can't make up for a whole day of sitting with a quick 10-minute bout of exercise. But if you only focus on the daily activity, you miss out on the cardiovascular benefits of exercise. Strategies to improve being sitting more is to stand up more often, sit less, and then move more. Get up and go visit a coworker instead of emailing. Stand up at your desk, maybe look into one of those standing desks. The last thing here, fitness trackers. We really want you to use your fitness tracker for what they're made for. That is motivation, accountability, and awareness. If your fitness tracker is motivating you to get up and move more, or you and your friend or coworker are having competitions with your fitness tracker, that's excellent. If, on the other side, they do not replace your exercise. If your daily activity at work gives you 5,000 steps, that's great, but we still need exercise on top of that because that's the baseline that your body is already used to. Calories are grossly overestimated with activity trackers, which can cause people to eat more later. So if my activity tracker tells me that I burned 400 calories on my walk, when my husband offers me ice cream, I'm more likely to think I deserve it because I burned 400 calories today. That's not true because I probably didn't burn 400 calories on my walk. The activity trackers do overestimate that a lot. It also limits the variety of exercise. I have patients that have stopped going to cycling class or won't do water aerobics because they don't get points on their tracker because their arms aren't moving during it. So I would like you to continue going to spinning class or continue doing water aerobics and just do your best with your tracker and use it for accountability. The last thing, nutrition and physical activity go hand in hand. We can't have one without the other. And it is so easy to eat extra calories, and it is so hard to burn off extra calories. When we go out to dinner, we eat about 300, sometimes 400 calories more than we normally would, and it would take hours of exercise to burn it off. So exercise is an excellent way to help with weight loss, but it can't replace a good meal plan and balanced nutrition. I'll let you.
Okay, so to wrap it up, today what we want to do is kind of tell you a little bit about our new program, which is the WeightSmart Medical Management Program. But we have other things. So, oops, sorry there. Let's go back here. All right. Oh, this is done. Okay, so we have our WeightSmart Medical Program, and I'll talk just a little bit about that after. We have our metabolic surgery program for those patients who actually meet that. Our program is a multidisciplinary collaborative approach, and we do what's called a psychobehavioral support for all our patients. And I love our little logo that they did here in Billings Clinic because you see it starts out of balance and it's a bigger, kind of a bigger person and slowly gets more and more in balance in a better way. So that's what we're trying to do is to teach you how to find a good balance for you. Okay. All right, so our program in particular is a 6 to 7 month intensive weight management program between the providers, the dietitian, and we also try to give some support in the behavioral area as well. It is comprehensive with the 4 pillars. It's a one-on-one dietitian with individualized meal plans. It has ongoing medical support. We do group and individual classes. We have the availability to do body composition evaluations. We can do with our personal trainer, which is Christina, to do individualized exercise plans are available as an add-on option. We have in-person and online support groups that people are welcome to. It is very comprehensive for long term. The key here to know is you have to have a BMI, which is a body mass index of at least 30. That is what puts you in the category of obesity. And if you're not quite sure, you can find out. This is done based on height and weight. Do remember BMIs are not the most accurate thing. It's the only tool we have to kind of have a cutoff. But I tell patients don't go insane if your BMI is whatever. We'll work with it. Okay? But it has to be at least 30 in order to qualify for our program. Okay? And for the moment, it's only for patients 18 years old and older because it's an adult program. Okay? If you have concerns about your children or adolescent, we have a very good pediatric endocrinologist, Dr. Colleen Wood, and she has a modified programs that they do. Okay? And that will be through pediatrics. If you're interested in our WeightSmart program, this is the number to call. And then you ask that you would like to be sent an information packet, and we'll be happy to send that to you. Okay? All right, so I think that kind of wraps it up.